I just want people to know what kind of doctor he is, and I don't want any more pets to pass away under his care.
Former employees and customers of a Massachusetts veterinarian are speaking exclusively with NBC 10 Boston about disturbing allegations. They say several pets have died after receiving medical care from the veterinarian.
Our consumer investigative reporter Bianca Beltran dug into the formal complaints that were filed against that veterinarian, raising questions about whether he's fit to continue treating animals.
Her name was Lotus, a flower, so I thought that it would be healing for me to plant something there, so I did that.
All around Bethany Vest Paris's home, there are reminders of Lotus.
These are, some of her toys.
Her 3-year-old French bulldog died last November, a day after what she thought would be a routine spay at Swansea Veterinary Center.
She was facing me and I was facing her, and this was just a matter of seconds. I said, "Don't worry, baby, Mommy's got you. I'm here for you." And I think that's when she passed. Well, I felt like in my mind there was no understanding that this could happen.
An independent autopsy found Lotus suffered internal bleeding from her ovary following surgery done by Dr. Carlos Silveira.
Dr. Silveira did the surgery in a sling.
Lisa Cabral says she worked at Swansea Veterinary Center for nearly 3 years.
So I believe when he was tying off with one hand, he did not have enough pressure to tie off correctly. And that's how Lotus ended up bleeding out.
Both Lisa and Laura Petty said they witnessed Dr. Silveira mistreat several animals.
When I began standing in for surgeries and witnessing that, I would notice that they were very rushed.
Including Vega, a dog whose owner told us had tissue hanging out of an incision after abdominal surgery.
Basically, he just pushed what was there back inside of the dog and added some staples, and then brought the dog back out and said she's great. However, the dog continued to worsen, and the client had to take that patient, Vega, to an emergency room where the dog then passed away. And he was told what had happened was it was actually the dog's intestines that had begun falling out of the incision due to just improper procedure.
Laura quit in 2024 after she alleges Dr. Silveira took controlled substances from the clinic's medicine cabinet that she was responsible for signing out, including Torbjesic, a narcotic used for pain control.
That was the last straw when, it was going under my name that he was taking these substances and doing who knows what with, and lying about it, in a federally regulated system.
Laura filed a complaint with the Massachusetts Board of Registration in Veterinary Medicine about the narcotics, and also accused Silveira of operating on animals without proper protective gear, working under the influence of alcohol and marijuana, as well as being verbally abusive to staff. The board initially dismissed Laura's complaint after Silveira's attorney denied all allegations and submitted supporting affidavits. When we started asking the board about this case, a spokesperson for the Division of Occupational Licensure, or DOL, told us they reopened it after receiving additional evidence, but won't provide any details about that evidence until the matter is settled.
We had 2 sets of minutes.
The board says it referred the case to the DOL's prosecution team in December. A DOL spokesperson told us that happens after a complaint is substantiated. Dr. Silveira could face disciplinary action related to his license pending a hearing and board approval. Our investigation of Silveira's current veterinary license record found only a fine for an expired medication violation back in 2012. But records we obtained from the file related to that violation included 3 anonymous letters to the board that raised concerns about Dr. Silveira's treatment of his patients, including allegations that he punched and choked animals. The letter said staff members were threatened into silence and feared retribution. But the investigator concluded, as there is no evidence and no witness willing to step forward, no action can be taken. Laura's complaint to the board in 2024 reported similar behavior.
We did try and come forward and speak to him about these issues. He said, any of you are replaceable. I could fire any of you at any second.
We tried to speak to Silveira about these allegations in May, but his attorney declined an interview. Silveira was in jail at the time, following an arrest in January for allegedly firing a gun in his neighborhood and resisting arrest. He initially pleaded not guilty to those charges, but on June 9th, Silvera pleaded guilty to 29 criminal charges, including stalking an ex-girlfriend, 4 counts of unlawful possession of assault weapons, and 18 counts of unlawful possession of large-capacity ammunition feeding devices. Those charges stemmed from a restraining order issued in 2022 after an ex-girlfriend reported harassing messages from Silvera to police. We talked to his father in May before Carlos was convicted and sentenced to 2 to 3 years in prison.
When you lose an animal, you have to blame somebody.
Explaining every surgery comes with risk of complications.
The owner of this dog claims that Carlos had his arm in a sling during surgery.
The shoulder was dislocated, but he was able to walk. Even now, he still uses it because it's a weak. He needs surgery for that one. Now he cannot afford to do surgery because he's going to be 6 months out of he cannot do any kind of surgery. That doesn't make no sense. He still can work. For some personal reason, they're trying to hurt him.
Come on. Lisa says she left Swansea Veterinary Center this year for her mental health and safety.
He threatened my life, and he told me how he could do it, and he was able to do it. And that's was my final straw at Swansea Animal Center. I left. I just want to speak for these animals. I don't want another animal going in there and dying for no reason.
Bethany also submitted a complaint to the Veterinary Medicine Board regarding her dog Lotus's death. The board referred the case to the DOL prosecution team in April, and we're waiting to hear whether they'll issue disciplinary action to either hers or Laura's complaints. Now, Tuesday at 11, we'll take a look at the Veterinary Board's investigation process and why the former employees that we spoke to questioned how thoroughly Laura's complaint was investigated before it was dismissed. Bianca Beltran, NBC 10 Boston.
Now to some controversy brewing in Rock.